Then they went to the Tag Team Appreciation Night interview with Tully and Arn in the ring with the Rock and Roll in the ring with FTR and the Young Bucks. One of these things is not like the other. Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Rock and Roll Express, FTR, Young Bucks. But of course, since the one thing in the ring that is not like the others is actually the one thing in the ring that is actually fucking vice presidents of the company, they were the ones that was spoken about most shiningly and complimentarily, if that's a word. Of course, the Bucks put the Rock and Roll over, said they created the style that we use. I worked with the Rock and Roll Express almost every night for about 15 fucking years. I never saw them have a fucking shitty match like the Young Bucks. They actually, they tried to say, the Bucks did, that they belong in this equation, that they were the next step from the Rock and Roll Express to the Rockers to the Hardys and now the Young Bucks.
Because they have tassels on their gear.
Because they have tassels on their gear. Just the gall, as Jackie Fargo said one time, the gall of you. Anyway, then FTR, go ahead.
If I could jump in, I think it's actually Bruiser and Crusher, Road Warriors, Young Bucks. In terms of selling, in terms of
they actually
wild.
I told Hunter Johnston, Delirious, one time after a Ring of Honor TV taping where the Jacksons their nose was out of snoot against the All Night Express because we told them don't do fucking 75 super kicks, have a goddamn match. So they went out and worked flat-footed like Bruiser and Crusher, just tagging in and out and grabbing the arm because they were unprofessional dicks then. And I said, that's why I asked Delirious. I said, this is the fucking future modern tag team of fucking wrestling. They're working like Bruiser and Crusher because they're in a bad mood because we told them to have a match that made sense. They've always been this way, and they're not going to fucking change.
I don't know who you think you are to step on their sense of entitlement, Jim.
Well, I stepped on a lot more than that, and I would have stepped on more shit if I had the opportunity, if I'd have known what was going to happen. If I'd have known what was going to happen, that they were going to be able to pollute the wrestling industry to this degree and harm the product to this level, I would have tried to book them in some kind of goddamn double height scaffold match and made sure that the other guys fucking went over. Anyway, FTR said some nice, genuine things about Tully and Arn and the Rock and Roll Express. Dax said hello to his wife and daughter. What a fucking heel. I guess at this point, and I love these guys, but I guess at this point it's just, well, let's just fucking just have some fun. This is just home movies. What the fuck? And everybody's going to say, well, they're not presenting them as a heel. I know they should be. And they should be acting as heels themselves, even if they're not presenting them as such, because they should be trying to get over. And then Ricky Morton was professional. And apparently he was still waiting on his check because he made sure to say that he watches AEW regularly and he put the Young Bucks over. He was a professional and he probably hadn't been paid yet because he was really being nice. And then Arn put the Bucks over. He's getting paid more than Ricky, so of course he put him over more. But and by the way, somebody said, well, Ricky Morton tweeted the other day that the Young Bucks had just revolutionized tag team wrestling. I'm like, you realize that Ricky Morton has never tweeted the first time for him fuck himself in his life, right? And probably couldn't if you held a gun to him.
Well, hold on. Let's stop right there. What do you mean? Who's tweeting for Ricky Morton?
Well, he told me when I blocked his Twitter account because they said something fucking stupid one time, he called me and said, Jimmy, I'm sorry. I've been out of town for a couple weeks on the road, and I've got one of these fucking idiots running my school and my social media. And that's where they put some fucking poll up or something about me taking the dick flip from Joey Ryan or some shit. And when Ricky got back in town and saw that his Twitter was blocked by me, he called me to apologize. I said, well, just tell the fucking guy that runs your fucking social media or whatever that Jim Cornette wants to speak to him. And the next time he sees me, I'm going to speak to him. I'm going to have my left hand around his fucking neck, and I'm going to ask him if he's a goddamn idiot or not, because he sure sounds like one. So, no, a lot of these guys don't do their own fucking Twitter, because that would require having one of these goddamn smartphones that I refuse to have and learning how to tweet on a phone, which I will not do.
So you mean to tell me some of those times that Ricky Morton has tweeted out overly complimentary things about AEW or the Young Bucks while the show's happening. He's not just sitting there in front of the TV with his smartphone tweeting away to his followers.
Maybe he said something to whoever's tweeting for, well, tell him I said this. I'm not saying it's all completely bullshit, but I'm saying, are you fucking serious? These are grown adult men. We don't spend our lives on fucking Twitter. I look at it on my computer while I'm printing orders out and fucking retweet what I like, block whoever I think is a smart ass, and then move on for the next 8 hours. What the fuck? We're grown adult men who have been in the wrestling business. We're not living on fucking Twitter. Anyway. So, but Arn is paid more than Ricky, so Arn put the Bucks over more than Ricky. Then Tully jumped in, and he was acting natural. He was pissing in everybody's cornflakes. He's always grumpy. He said neither team was the champion, so neither one of them was that great. But he also then got mad at Arn for being on Cody's side when I think he forgot Sean Spears' name, because he said, when my guy was fighting Cody, and then I don't know what the fuck happened. Arn started to fucking answer the thing with Tully. Sean Spears walked out on the stage. Arn said, well, I see where this is going. And he started to walk out of the ring before I guess he could be attacked. But suddenly Ricky, for no apparent reason, just punched Tully Blanchard in the face. And everybody started pulling them apart. And while the Bucks were trying to get Tully and that contingent out, FTR jumped the Rock and Roll. Hoot took a nice little bump over the top, and they pile drove Ricky. Tony Khan had to book this personally because you could tell that the guys were being told to do shit that they were doing to the best of their ability, but it was never going to make shit, and they couldn't figure out how to make it make sense. And it just fell fucking apart. I don't know what the point was supposed to be here. Otherwise, it was nice that FTR got spike pile drive fucking Ricky Morton, but are you trying to get heat on him, especially after the guys just said hello to his wife and baby daughter and said such wonderful things about these guys? But then Tully and Arn are mad at each other. We know that much. Is that match going to be booked? I don't think so. So in the words of Bill Watts, why the fuck the match I want to see coming out of this thing is Tully Blanchard versus Arn Anderson? We ain't going to see that. I don't know why any of the rest of it happened. But Tony Khan apparently thought that'd be cool to have these legend tag teams in the ring. Obviously, there's a comparison between FTR and Tully and Arn because they do remind you of a modern-day Tully and Arn, and obviously in the Young Bucks' minds and in their immediate family's minds, they compare themselves to the Rock and Roll Express. Then why did everything just fall apart all of a sudden at the end simultaneously? Answer, riddle me that, Batman.
I don't know how to answer that. This certainly was Tag Team Appreciation Night because since FTR didn't wrestle, I really appreciated good tag team wrestling, which we didn't get to see on this show. I didn't have a problem with Dax saying hello to his wife and daughter because the heel turn happened. So it was kind of a deflection before the heel turn happened. He feigned his knee injury too.
All right, I'm going to give you this one because you gave me the fucking podium. I'll give you this one. We agree on.
I didn't give you the podium. I didn't give you the podium.
No, we agreed to disagree.
Okay.
So I'm going to agree to disagree on it. No, FTR should have come in as outsiders from the start, as heels from the start.
I agree with you.
As beholden no one from the start and having their matches against individual tag teams, getting wins from the start, like any other booker in the history of wrestling would have brought in a tag team that good and that talented, especially hot off the other fucking television. And instead we get the Outlaw Mud Show review, and now they're stuck in it. It's like watching fucking Meryl Streep in a goddamn fucking Taylor Swift video. It's
I agree with you.
It's demeaning to the talent.
FTR should have been brought in and should have been used differently the entire time they were there. With that said, the way they were used, considering that, and that they went into this segment as kind of babyface, knowing they were about to turn hard heel, or at least as hard a heel you could turn in AEW, I had no problem with the saying hello to the wife and daughter. Matt Jackson comes across so disingenuous on the mic. Like, just so bad. I don't know how anyone can like a young
got that smile and that voice, and you just tell that he's just thinks his shit don't stink. Fake. And also, he doesn't want, I was about to say, he doesn't want anybody to believe that he's actually serious, because that would then make the people think that he was taking wrestling seriously, which of course you can't do in that environment, because if people took wrestling seriously, then they'd want actual talent instead of what they're getting force-fed by these fucking bozos.
Like you said, and I agree with everything you just said, the Young Bucks just, I can't say it.
All right, let's move on.
Well, hold on. I want to say you're right.
All right.
Ricky Morton, why did he attack Tully?
I don't know.
That made no sense. Arn Anderson walked out. With all due respect to Sean Spears, is there a way to walk out and be less intimidating than Sean Spears walked out slowly onto the stage?
Yes, there is. By making Arn Anderson walk out because a non-intimidating person walked within 50 feet of him.
I think
then Arn Anderson looked less intimidating than that because he walked out because of that.
You got to think they're going to have Tully end up with FTR. I mean, that's kind of the way they were leading it. Tully Blanchard stole the fucking show. He was phenomenal. He was believable. The way Matt Jackson...
Yes, he was him, Tully.
I believed it. I didn't believe anything Matt Jackson said. It came across like a guy performing. Tully Blanchard came across as the real deal. This is now 2 matches they built up that I'm not going to get to see. Arn Anderson and Jake Roberts. And Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. And like you said, there are elements of this that I liked. I liked the idea of FTR turning heel and piledriver Ricky Morton. It just didn't make any sense in the general scheme of things. I liked the idea of Tully Blanchard cutting great promos. It didn't make any sense. Ricky Morton attacking him didn't make any sense. This was put together really, really poorly. And this was the highlight of the show.
Well, it is downhill from here, folks.